Instead of just doing a full face of new makeup and telling you if I think the products look good, I want to put a spin on things. I want to test these new makeup products against stuff I already own and love to see if they're good enough to replace my current favorites. Let's get into it, but first, if you're new here, hi, my name is Miranda. This channel is dedicated to budget-conscious beauty. If that sounds like your vibe, hit subscribe. The first product that I'll be testing today is a new drugstore under eye concealer. This is the new Essence Correct and Conceal. These color correctors are $4.99. They have a breathable formula. I have two shades, one in light and one in medium. I gotta say, I feel like I'm in between. Let's try medium. It's a little bit more of a melon shade. So I like using these melon shades under my eyes because I do feel like it helps brighten and correct this shadowy area under my eye. So I'm gonna start out mostly focusing in the inner corner and a bit over here. Yeah, it's a slightly deeper peach than I think I would normally gravitate toward. Ooh, but it's a very thin formula, really easy to blend. I'm curious about the finish because it doesn't look glowy at all. I mean, it's definitely brighter on this side than here in my inner corner. I kind of want to add a little bit of the lighter shade. I'm just gonna put this one toward the inner corner. See, that just looks really light on me. So yeah, that's a little bit stark. Okay, despite the shade situation, this formula blends really nicely and very thin. We've definitely brightened the under eye area. It's looking so much more awake over here, and it looks smooth under my eye. It does not look like I have product in this area. So pretty good first impression, but in terms of the shades, I feel like something in between the two would have been helpful for the light medium range of skin tones. I'm really liking how it's looking, but let's compare it to my current favorite, which is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Under Eye Brightener. This is in the shade Melon. Now this is $10.99, so nearly double the cost of the Essence Under Eye Brightener, but it's more of a skincare makeup hybrid. It also contains hyaluronic acid and caffeine in the formula to hydrate and depuff. Now you'll be able to see this Melon shade is like perfect for my skin tone. It really is kind of a mix of the two Essence shades. Although I might prefer the Essence applicator. I'm never a really big fan of these sponge tip squeezy tubes. They just get so messy, and Milani makes so many products like these, but it is what it is. I love this formula. This formula has a bit of micro shimmer to it just to add a little bit of extra radiance. And the Essence one did not have that at all. Well, right off the bat, I think because this shade works better for my skin tone, this side is already sort of my preferred look. The fact that there is no shade in the Essence line that I think works as well as the Milani line would absolutely come into play about whether it would replace my Milani. Now, as I finish blending the Milani side, I'm noticing that the Essence side has dried down to sort of a soft matte finish. It doesn't look dry or crackly. It still looks very smooth, but I kind of like the hydrated look that the Milani under eye brightener is giving me. The shimmer in the Milani product is definitely something that you can see if you just apply it to bare skin, but typically if you top it with foundation, it just turns into radiance. You don't really see those individual shimmer particles. I personally like the Milani side better. However, the Essence side definitely has more coverage overall. So this may be a better option for you if you have really dark under eye circles and these shades work for you. But I'm curious, which side do you think looks brighter? As a first impression, I don't think that the Essence under eye brighteners are going to replace my Milani one based on my preferences and shade needs. Next, I have a new drugstore foundation to test out. I'm sure you've heard a lot of people talking about it. This is the new Maybelline Lumi Matte Foundation. This is about $12 to $15, depending on where you get it. It claims 30 hours of wear that is water resistant, sweat resistant, and transfer resistant. They claim that this offers breathable, lightweight coverage that sets to a matte finish that stays a little bit luminous so that it never looks dry or dull. This is also a vegan formula and non-comedogenic, so it won't clog pores. Now, they sent me 3 shades. The third shade was just way too dark. These I'm probably gonna have to mix to get my correct shade, 118 and 220. I'm somewhere in the middle. I did go in store to look for the shade that I think would match me better, which I think was like 125 or something. sold out. So we're gonna make do, and that's something that I won't hold against this because I know that there is a shade that matches me. I just could not get my hands on it. Yeah, I think that works. I do have combo skin. I get oily in my T-zone, but throughout the rest of my face, I'm pretty dry. I also have skin texture and acne going on. So, you know, matte foundation is just not what I really reach for anymore. First impression is I really didn't apply that heavy of a layer, and I feel like I have nearly full coverage. That's impressive, especially with a matte foundation. You don't really want to be adding too many layers because matte formulas can get cakey quickly when there's just too much product. This covered a lot of my hyperpigmentation and some active acne. I'm gonna let that sit on my face for a bit while I apply one of my favorite drugstore foundations to the other side of my face, and it's also from Maybelline. This is their 24-hour skin tint. Now this is actually a little bit more expensive than the Lumi matte foundation. This is between $14 and $18 because it is a bit more of a makeup skincare hybrid. It has vitamin C in the formula. This has buildable coverage. It gives a more natural finish, and I have personally found it to be sweat resistant and humidity resistant. It definitely lives up to those claims. I have worn this in humid climates like New Orleans in April or May. I have worn this to really long concerts. I wore it to the Eras tour, which was outdoors in Los Angeles near the beach. So it was actually pretty humid, but we were standing in the sun outside for like 6 hours before the show started, and you know, the sun kind of started going down, and it just stays looking so nice and fresh all day. Now, just from applying this first layer, I do feel like the Lumi matte foundation gave me a bit more coverage with the same amount of product. Let's take it at face value. Foundation, skin tint. Although the skin tint is a bit more pigmented than I think what a lot of people would consider a tint. So typically when I wear this, either I will build up just a little bit more where I need it. So I have, you know, some acne here and a little bit here, or I'll pair it with a concealer. Today, I'm just going to use a little bit more of the product and dot it where I need it because it is pretty buildable. Also, you saw my face at the beginning of this video. I had more to cover on this side. Had to add a little bit more product on the skin tint side to achieve about the same results as the one thin layer from the Lumi matte side, but it's been 5 minutes since I put this on and I'm already seeing things I don't like. I'm already seeing a little bit of creasing in my laugh lines, which I expect to a degree after I've been wearing a foundation for a few hours, not 5 minutes. But I will go in and set with powder. We'll see how that helps out. Let me blend this one out a little bit. And I just have a sunscreen primer underneath my makeup today, by the way. But knowing that I have a little bit more to cover and more texture on this side, and in my opinion, it looks better than the Lumi matte side, the Lumi matte isn't going to be replacing my Maybelline skin tint. If you have oily skin though, then you might want to give this a try. I do think that it is a beautiful finish overall, but in terms of the creasing, let's go ahead and powder. Now the side-by-side powder test today is going to be quite interesting because the new powder that I'm trying is from a mid-range brand. This is the new About Face The Curtain Call powder. I'm testing their pink shade today. This is $21. This is also available in skin tone shades to kind of help even out your complexion. This is vegan and cruelty-free. They claim 10 hours of wear, and this is talc-free and silicone-free. Now I will say this packaging is just really pretty, really luxe. It is kind of bulky, but I'm super happy to report that we do have a mesh sifter. I love mesh sifters. Every so often we'll get one at the drugstore. I think one of the Milani powders has one. It just controls how much powder you pick up so much better than the plastic ones that you kind of have to, you know, shake upside down to get product out. Okay, so I'm just going to reblend some of these spots that I'm gonna put it in. Under my eye and on my forehead. And I do want to point out that Essence Under Eye Brightener, it still looks really good underneath the Lumi Matte Foundation. It does not look heavy in this area at all. So again, not a bad product. I'll bake a little bit under my eye, in my laugh line, and on my forehead. Baking is always a trust the process situation, am I right? Now, my current favorite pink brightening setting powder is the Lottie London Ready Set Go powder. This is only $7. It is also vegan and cruelty-free, like About Face. It is also talc-free, like About Face. Now, packaging right off the bat, this is still a pretty big jar, but it does have the plastic sifter, like I was telling you about. And not only does that get messy, but there's just so much product that ends up on top. It's just a little bit harder to control, but it's $7 versus $21. I will bake under the eye, in my laugh line. Wow, this one is a lot lighter of a pink tone, and on my forehead. Interesting. Okay, we'll see what happens because this one almost looks white when I apply it to my face. This one's staying pretty pink. And the reason I love the Lottie London powder so much is that it is fine. It is fluffy, it's silky, it's not gritty. It really has a high-end feel to it for $7. So let me go ahead and wipe off the excess on the About Face side. I do feel like it's staying looking a little pink, which will help under my eyes. But typically, I mean, maybe this is a me thing. I use my pink brightening powder anywhere I'm baking. I'm not just using it under the eyes and then using like a translucent powder to bake other places because that's just not me. I want to not juggle a bunch of the same type of product for different areas of my face. So while this definitely has a stronger pink hue to it, which helps under the eye, it may tint other areas of your face if you want to kind of double duty use it. Okay, let me blend away the Lottie side. Yeah, it seems like the Lottie powder is just more of a hint of pink versus like a strong pink tone. And because of this, I don't find it to really affect the shade of my foundation in the other areas I apply it. Interesting. I do feel like the About Face powder is a bit more blurring. I just feel like I'm looking a little bit more blurred on the About Face side around my forehead lines. Under my eye on the About Face side, it did blur over some of those finer lines. And on the Lottie London side, they're looking just a bit more prominent. See, this is exactly why I had the idea to do this side by side, because when I'm trying new products, you know, I have an idea of what my favorites look like in my head, but you don't really notice a difference until you see them up close right next to each other. And I do feel like the Lottie London one added back texture, but I did like the shade of pink that the Lottie London powder is in. So I could see this About Face powder actually becoming a go-to, but I think instead of the pink shade, which is called Finale, I would use the shade Veil just so that I wouldn't end up with the pink kind of tinge in the areas that aren't under my eyes. But that was a little bit of a plot twist. That's just so interesting to me because that's not something that I was cognizant of when I was only doing a full face using the Lottie London powder. Okay, so we have our first new product that I think won out over my current favorite. I'm gonna quickly do my brows because the next two products that we'll be testing are brow gels. I will say though, the Lottie London powder is available in like a small travel jar, and I can definitely still see myself traveling with that over this huge About Face jar. I'm pretty sure this next product has been out for a while, but it's new to me, and there are a few more products like that. This is the new L'Oreal Brow Lamination Gel. This is about $11. They claim 24-hour wear that is sweat-proof, as well as no stickiness and no residue. Now, I am pretty picky with brow gels because I have thick hair and I have thick brows. They often just have a mind of their own, and a lot of gels just cannot hold them in place. They will tend to kind of like fall throughout the day. Ooh, okay. It's a lot thicker than I expected, which I guess makes sense for a brow lamination product. Now, with the few brow gels that I have been able to find and you know, that work on my brows, I do find that they're a little bit sticky or they leave a cast. Wow, this is really combing my brows up. Okay, I don't want to over apply because that will make any product look shiny or like too thick. So I think I'm gonna leave it here, but so far, so good. Now, in terms of a laminated brow look, my favorite product to use is the e.l.f. Brow Lift. I know that I've kind of been on the fence about this product in the past, but that mostly has to do with the packaging. I love this formula. I don't love that it's in a jar. I just don't like brow products in a jar because you immediately need another tool to get the look. And as you use it, you can see I've created quite the dip in the jar. It becomes harder to get the tool in there, and I like to kind of coat my spoolie evenly, and I can't really do that anymore. I have to scoop it out. I do have the brow lift applicator that they sell that goes along with this. I mean, it's kind of a racket. Now that I think about it, like, you need this tool to really get the most use out of this. I mean, any beauty spatula would work, or your fingers, but I'll put it on the back of my hand and then I'll twirl the spoolie. So it's already a little bit of work, right? But this formula rocks, and it's $6. Now, this does claim extreme hold and a clear finish. I don't feel that it gives a cast to my brows. It does not claim to be sweat proof though. I find that it doesn't really break down with sweat. Now, despite the annoyance of how I have to extract the product from the jar, you get a little bit more control with how much product you're actually putting on your brows. But look at how like vertical I can get my brows with this. I feel like I was able to shape both sides pretty equally. Like, my brows were going where I wanted them to go. This one's tough because I feel like both of them have almost the same amount of pros and cons. This one, I think I'm gonna have to check in with you to see if there's a difference after a few hours of wear. So we'll put a pin in this. Next, we have a mascara that I am so late to trying. This mascara won an Allure Best of Beauty Award just last year. This is the CoverGirl Cleantopia mascara. Now, I gotta say, CoverGirl really does make some underrated drugstore mascaras. I feel like Maybelline and L'Oreal mascaras get all of the social media hype, but I have loved CoverGirl mascaras since I was a teenager. So this is a vegan and cruelty-free mascara. In case you didn't know, CoverGirl did go completely cruelty-free in, I wanna say 2016, 2017. And since then, they've also been making a lot of vegan makeup as well. So this is a fiber mascara. It has 100% cellulose plant fibers. It also claims to be smudge-proof and flake-proof, and I am using the waterproof version today just because I am in need of a waterproof mascara right now. I'm going on a beach vacation next week. So trying to be smart about the makeup products that I open, especially with mascara. I hate having like a ton of mascaras open at the same time. Ooh, okay, so we have an hourglass wand. It's not too thick though. Sometimes hourglass wands make me a little nervous. I prefer kind of a thinner tapered wand. And this is like a traditional brush applicator. It's not a comb. Yeah, I am definitely getting mascara on my lid because of the brush shape. I like the look of the volume that this mascara is giving me. It looks like natural volume. It's not super thick. It's not clumpy. I don't feel like my lashes are sticking together at all. This mascara, I think, is giving my lashes more lift than my curler gave me. As I apply, my lashes are almost getting straighter and straighter up. Is that a thing? Okay, honestly, I don't think I can build up any more just because my lashes are hitting my brow bone. Let's put a little bit on the bottom. I've got my reusable beauty swabs and my micellar water. I've been using these beauty swabs almost every time I do my makeup recently. I don't think I realized how many like Q-tips I was using for beauty products until I stopped using single-use ones and started using these reusable ones. It's just a little sustainable beauty swap that I made, and I'm super happy about it. I will link these down below. You can just clean them like brushes and then they're ready to go again. Wow. Okay, now that I've cleaned up my lid, I can see the full effect of this mascara. It is so pretty. Before I put on mascara on this side, here's the before and after. I'm impressed, and I'm definitely bringing this mascara to the beach. I have another go-to mascara that I specifically reach for when I want a clean, lifted length look, and that's the NYX On The Rise Lift Mascara. I feel like nobody talks about this, and it has been one of my favorite NYX products specifically for years. Now, this one does have a comb wand, but it is sort of hourglass shaped as well. And this is a very lightweight formula that helps lock in lash lift. Now my only downside with this mascara is if you really, really build it up, it will flake. So already the CoverGirl has that flake-free claim over this one, but the CoverGirl one reminded me of this one because it gives me length and volume without looking like a full-on glam lash. I feel like I've preferred comb wands in recent years. I like how they kind of detangle my lashes and really coat them and separate them evenly, but I really didn't have an issue with the CoverGirl side because like the more you can separate your lashes, the more lashes it looks like you have. Okay, not gonna lie, the CoverGirl side looks cleaner. I do have some clumping going on, not crazy, just a little bit on the NYX side. And the CoverGirl side, I mean, let's keep in mind that I used the waterproof version, but I think I got a lot more lift maintained on the CoverGirl side than the NYX side, even though this is one of my most lifting mascaras. I kind of like the overall look of the CoverGirl side better and how clean it looks. I'm noticing that this formula is a little clumpier than I think I would have thought it was if I wasn't seeing it side by side. Also, I feel like the CoverGirl mascara is the first waterproof mascara that doesn't look super heavy on me. Waterproof mascaras, you know, they are kind of known to hold a curl better and to not flake as easily, but the ones that I've tried in the past have always just looked a little bit heavier than their normal counterparts, and this still looks so light that I would wear this on a regular basis even if I wasn't planning on coming into contact with water. So I gotta give it to CoverGirl on this one. If I'm looking for lightweight, fluttery length and lift, in the future, I can see myself grabbing this Cleantopia mascara over the NYX Lift Mascara. I just realized that I'm putting Essence to the test against Milani twice in this video, but I am trying the new Essence Drop of Sunshine Bronzing Drops. Are we tired of bronzing drops yet? Last summer, it was all about the bronzing drops. We got one from nearly every brand, and Essence just got around to it. This is $5.99, vegan and cruelty-free. It does include nourishing jojoba oil. However, what's weird is that on the Ulta site, it says formulated without oil, but the featured ingredient is jojoba oil. So, okay, here is the shade that you get. You get what you get. There's a little bit of a golden undertone to it, so we'll see how it blends out. So I'm gonna put that at the perimeters of my face. Ooh, that's really pretty. I was really afraid with a bronzer that only comes in one shade. I'm like, well, this one's gonna be orange on me. However, it's not gonna work on everyone. If you are deeper than medium, maybe you'll benefit from the glow, but not necessarily the color. I'm just gonna add a little bit more, but I do like the color. It works really well for my skin tone, and that's just lucky. Now with the Milani bronzing drops, these are about $15. So more than double the cost of the Essence ones, but again, this is more of a makeup skincare hybrid, just like the under eye concealer. This has hyaluronic acid and glycerin for hydration and tripeptides to help diminish fine lines and support the appearance of skin firmness. And they're vegan and cruelty-free. So with the Essence ones, supposedly having jojoba oil in it, that's definitely a nice skincare ingredient, but this one is doing a lot. Also, the Milani drops come in 3 shade options. I go back and forth between using light and medium. Medium is a little bit warmer for me, so I use this more so in summer when my skin shade can support it. Otherwise, I use light. I'm getting mascara flakes from the NYX mascara. I'll just pick those off and continue. They both look really pretty on the skin. I think they have the same amount of radiance. It really comes down to, are you looking for the skincare benefits that you get with the Milani product, or are you just looking for a makeup product? In which case, spending $5.99 on the Essence bronzing drops would get the job done, except the shade range. I know a lot of people rave about the e.l.f. bronzing drops. I have not tried those because, like I said, every brand came out with bronzing drops at the same time. I didn't need more than 1 or 2 bottles, and when I liked how the Milani ones looked on me and how they worked with my skin, I just stuck to them. I also did try and like the Physicians Formula bronzing drops. Those are really pretty. I felt like this was a little bit thinner of a formula though, and I I liked how it blended. The Physicians Formula ones though, I use more on my body. I'm kind of tied with these, I'm not gonna lie, but that's only because I got lucky enough that the Essence shade works for me. Yeah, they look so similar, but I will say the Milani side feels more hydrating, and as someone with dry skin in this area, that does count for something. I'll be using the same blush on both sides. This is the Moira Love Steady Liquid Blush in the shade Trust. Oh, let me tell you something. This Lumi matte foundation, maybe because it's just been sitting for so long, it did not like me using a liquid blush and a damp sponge on top of it after it's been set, whereas this blended out totally fine on the skin tint side. If you ever find this happening where you've put liquid blush on and it's kind of like pulling your foundation out of place, take a little bit of the liquid blush. Oh, this is gonna be a little harder because I did mix two shades, but you'd want to take your foundation as well and mix the two together a bit. So I mixed my Franken foundation with the blush, and that's what that looks like. And now I'm gonna take that and just finger blend it over where I feel like I've lost the foundation underneath. Just gonna pat that lightly and we are good. Okay, that was interesting. Well, that's definitely something to note about this foundation formula for sure. I have the new Hard Candy Just Glow Luminizer to try. This is another one of those makeup skincare hybrids. It has vitamin C and E, niacinamide, and grapeseed oil to help nourish and hydrate the skin. I'm gonna try out the shade Rosy Glow. This does come in 3 shades. It also has a golden shade and a bronzer. I'm not a bronzer shade, but a bronzer tone than this. Does that make sense? This comes in 3 highlight shades for different skin tones, okay? The golden one, even though I do tend to like lean toward more goldy, champagne-y highlights, the golden one is too deep for my skin tone. That is pretty. I do like the pump packaging. It feels very luxe. I'm just gonna use my fingers to blend this in. I gotta say though, in general, I feel like this Maybelline Lumi Matte Foundation doesn't really like cream and liquid products on top of it. If you're using this Lumi Matte Foundation, I think just because it sets so quickly and it does set with that more matte texture, sticking to powder complexion products on top would probably yield a little bit easier application and smoother blending. And because I've sort of leaned more partial to cream complexion products just because I feel like they look better on my textured skin, that also comes into play over, you know, whether or not that foundation is for me. So that is a really, really pretty glow. It really just looks like my skin is dewy and glowy and bouncy. So love that. But how does it do next to one of my favorite drugstore liquid highlighters? This is the Physicians Formula Butter Glow Highlighter. Now this one also has skin conditioning properties due to their signature butter blend. This has fatty acids and provitamins to help moisturize. Although I will say like the ingredients in the Hard Candy one are ingredients that I like to use in my skincare routine already. Now the Physicians Formula one only comes in 1 shade, but they do have like a bronze version of this too. This is kind of a neutral champagne. It's definitely not as pink. This one ranges from $11 to $16 depending on where you get it. So I'm gonna tap that in. This one right off the bat is definitely more impactful. Now, even though it does have shimmer to it, it's not like super noticeable glittery shimmer. I mean, y'all know I like a strong highlight. Let me see if I can add a little bit more to the Hard Candy side just to bring up the drama a bit. Ooh, this is hard. This is hard. The Physicians Formula one has been my favorite for like 2 years now, I want to say. 2 years, 1 year? When did that come out? Like 2 years ago. My favorite may have just been unseated, especially for the price, because the Hard Candy one is also vegan and cruelty free. And this one might be the deal maker for some people. The Hard Candy one is fragrance free and the Physicians Formula one is not. This one does have that signature butter scent that it's pretty polarizing. You either love it or hate it. I don't mind it. Okay, I swatched a little bit on my wrist and the Hard Candy one does have shimmer in it, but it's a lot finer of a shimmer than the Physicians Formula one. I think I see the Hard Candy one becoming my new go-to. That, and again, I'm shocked. I think I'm still gonna get use out of the Physicians Formula one on my body, but I think I prefer the Hard Candy one for my face now. Wow. I'm gonna line my lips before our last product comparison. This is the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in 5 stars. Now I just unseated a Physicians Formula favorite. Let's see if a new Physicians Formula product will win out this round. This is their new Mineral Wear Diamond Lip Oil. Are we tired of lip oils yet? Just like the bronzing drops, every brand has a lip oil now. If they don't, they just shouldn't come out with one. It's done. This is between $8 and $10 depending on where you get it, and they call it a lip oil and serum hybrid. It contains their lustrous diamond dust, mineral powder, and vitamin E. Vegan and cruelty-free, and this is actually fragrance-free. I am glad that Physicians has been creating more fragrance-free options because they really have such great products, but like I said, their fragrance can be very polarizing. This is in the shade Pink Diamond, and just looking at it in the tube, it definitely seems like a sheer, more skincare focused lip oil versus a makeup hybrid like we have from, you know, e.l.f. or Milani, where it's adding a little bit more color to use maybe in place of a gloss. Also, I love with their diamond line, they have that kind of invisible holographic diamond in the cap. It's just cute. So a nice fat cushy wand. Yeah, definitely does not add noticeable color, but I expected that. Ooh, okay. Just gonna put it on the back of my hand as well. It's got a medium consistency. It's not super thick or heavy, but it's cushy. Not sticky at all. That's nice, and it's very shiny. Now, I didn't really feel like testing this against the e.l.f. or Milani lip oils really made sense, because even though those are my favorites at the drugstore, I do feel like those are more of a makeup skincare hybrid, and this is very much a skincare product. Plus, this reminded me a lot of a mid-range Korean beauty lip oil that maybe it's a dupe of, and I'm talking about the Kaja Juicy Glass Lip Oil. Now this is $18, but it is constantly on sale. In fact, today it's on sale for $13.50, so that's definitely, you know, in the range of drugstore at this point. Now, depending on the shade you get, this actually features different fruit oils in the formula. So I have Rose Hip Spritz, which features rose hip oil, but for example, if you get the apricot shade, that one has apricot kernel oil. Also vegan and cruelty-free, made in Korea. So I'm gonna just try this on the other side as best I can because this is such a mushy, you know, lip test here. But these are also pretty sheer. I do think some of their shades are milkier, so you'll get a little bit more of that hint of color, but this definitely seemed more on the same playing field as the Physicians Formula lip oil. Almost the same applicator too. This one's fragranced. I like it, but you know. Okay. This one does feel a bit thinner than the Physicians Formula one. There's a little bit of a hint of color with the Kaja lip oil, and the Physicians Formula one is very sheer. So you might get a bit of an evening of your lip tone with the Kaja one, a little bit of a tint. You know what? Blending them out on the back of my hand side by side, it just feels like the Physicians one sinks in a little bit easier maybe, but they are very similar. And the Mineral Wear line in general is designed for extra sensitive, breakout prone skin. That's why they kept it fragrance free, which I like. And you get more product in the Physicians Formula one versus the Kaja one. I think if you're very sensitive, especially to fragrance, the Physicians Formula one is going to be the one to choose. Now this side by side was a little bit different because my most worn lip oils are more of those makeup hybrids. I feel like I would reach for this when I'm not necessarily wearing makeup. I would reach for this as a lip treatment over how I use the e.l.f. and Milani ones as part of a makeup look. So I can see myself incorporating this into my routine versus it becoming a go-to over what I'm already using. Here's the finished side by side, my tried and trues versus new makeup. I'd love to hear how you thought they compared. Hello, this version of Miranda that you're seeing now is from 8 hours later. Since that last clip, I've been wearing this makeup side by side practically all day now. I just got back from happy hour and I wanted to update you on the foundation, the mascara, and the brows. I will admit, with this Maybelline Lumi Matte Foundation, I am so impressed with the coverage and how the coverage has held up throughout the day. However, I'm still getting major creasing in my laugh line despite having been set with powder. And that is just not happening on the skin tint side. So if I'm looking at both of these options as like summer foundation go-tos, I'm still leaning toward the Maybelline skin tint. You know, they're both supposed to be sweat resistant and humidity resistant, and I just think that the skin tint looks better longer all day. Now let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. The NYX mascara just flaked everywhere. Now with that said, I did get slight, tiny microscopic flakes on the CoverGirl side, but I really do think that's because my lashes are hitting my brow bone. So if that contact was not being made, I'm confident in saying that this probably wouldn't have happened. So next time, I don't think I'm gonna crimp my lashes as straight up, knowing that this mascara gives me extra lift. But even still, CoverGirl won this side by side. Now, I've been paying very close attention to my brows all day, and I am so impressed with this L'Oreal Brow Lamination Gel. It pretty much performed exactly the same as the e.l.f. one that I love. Now, with that said, you might think, okay, but the e.l.f. one is half the cost. So if they perform the same, wouldn't you automatically go toward the e.l.f. one as your go-to? But I'm not using the e.l.f. Brow Lift regularly because of the whole production that it takes to get it out of the jar. So while yes, this is an incredible product for the money, I can see myself using the L'Oreal one way more because of the convenience and the packaging and the applicator. Let me know if you've tried any of these new makeup products, and if not, do you think any of them have a chance at replacing your reigning favorites? Tell me in the comments. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. If you want to keep watching, join me over in this video next where I review the new Maybelline lifter liners. Y'all have been asking for this review, but I don't think it's going to be what you expected. I'll see you over there. Bye!